Good morning, dear children. How are you all? Are you doing good? Did you enjoy the last lesson? Now, welcome to English is Fun with Miss Serena Hansen. Today is a bright, beautiful day, isn't it? Now, we are going to start or let's say continue with the first lesson, Louisa's story by Sarah Cohn Bryan. Okay, this is the second part of the first lesson. Shall we recap the first part of the story? You should all remember that Louisa lived with her parents and her three sisters in a countryside. Her father and mother told her beautiful stories and they helped her to learn and play. And Louisa herself enjoyed making up stories of her own. Are you ready? Shall we read further? Let's begin. The girls would wake up early in the morning, make their beds, and sit down to study. When they finished their lessons, they would help their mother set the table for breakfast. After that, they would go to the big barn to play. Their favorite game was pretend play. Okay, now let's move on to the first line once again. The girls woke up early morning. Do you all wake up early morning, children? And they made their beds. Do you make your beds or you just leave it like that? We should make our beds before we come out of the bedroom. And then they sit down to study. After brushing their teeth, okay, what did they do? They sat down to study. Do you sit and study early morning, children? It's a very good habit to sit and study. And then, after they finished their lessons, what did they do? They helped their mother set the table for breakfast. Okay, in the meanwhile, when the children are studying, mother prepared breakfast and then later they would all sit and have their breakfast. And after breakfast, what did they do? They went out to play. Where did they go to play? In the big barn. And what was your favorite game? Pretend play. What is pretend play, children? Okay, you all do it. Okay, even I have done it when I was young. I used to assume that I was a doctor and my friends would be patient. Okay, or I would be a teacher and my friends would be students. Okay, something like that. Okay, that's pretend play, pretending to be somebody else or an object. Okay, now we will read further to know what pretend plays they played. Okay, children, let's move on to the second paragraph. The girls loved acting more than everything. They had made the barn into a theater and invited the grown ups to watch the plays they acted in. It was great fun. What did they like to do? They loved acting and they changed the barn, okay, the place where they store the food grain, into a theater, okay, where dramas happen. And they were also so happy to invite their grown-ups. Grown-ups means the adults in the family. Okay, they told their mother, father, aunt and uncle to come and watch their play. And they had great fun. Okay, children, as I was reading this paragraph, something struck me. Okay, it's a very short paragraph with two types of sentences. Can you identify them? The first sentence, the girls loved acting more than everything. Okay, and there's a punctuation mark. What mark is that? An exclamatory mark. So what type of sentence is it? It's a exclamatory sentence. Look at the last sentence also. It was great fun. Okay, and with an exclamatory mark. So it is an exclamatory sentence. And the sentence in between, they had made the barn into a theater and invited the grown ups to watch the plays they acted in it. Okay, so that is a declarative sentence. Understood, children? Now let's move on to the third paragraph. One of their favorite play was Jack and the Beanstalk. They had a ladder that went from the floor to the loft. On the ladder, they tied a squash vine all the way up to the loft to look like the wonderful beanstalk. One of the girls, little girls, dressed up to look like Jack. When it came to the part of the story that is in the story where the giant tried to follow Jack, the little girl cut down the beanstalk and the giant came tumbling down from the loft. This giant was made out of what? Huge pillows. Okay, children, what was the favorite play of Louisa and her sisters? Jack and the Beanstalk. Now, let's see how they enacted the play, how they made the play come alive. Okay, they had a ladder, okay, that went from floor to the loft. The loft is a place where you store things, okay, and then on the ladder they tied a squash vine. Vine are just creepers, okay. Now there's a picture next to you. Can you see the creeper? Yes. And then to look like a wonderful beanstalk, this vine would make it look like a beanstalk. And then the girls dressed up to look like Jack. One girl dressed herself to look like Jack the boy. And then, when it came to the story where the giant tried to follow Jack, the little girl cut down the beanstalk. Just imagine the story the giant is following Jack on the beanstalk, and then one girl would cut the beanstalk from down. Okay, and what would happen when the beanstalk is cut? The giant came tumbling down. He fell down the beanstalk. Okay, and what was the giant made up of? Huge pillows. Don't you think that was funny? Yes. Okay, it was made of pillows. Okay, imagine yourself at home, make a big giant, okay, using your pillows at home. Okay, so they imagined stuff and they made the story come alive. Now, the next paragraph. Another story they loved to perform was Cinderella. They made a large pumpkin carriage out of the wheelbarrow. Cinderella rolled away in it, right down the aisle, when the fairy godmother waved her wand. Louisa loved all these plays. She made some of her own and wrote them down so that the four of them could act in them. Here is another story that Louisa liked a lot. And what was it? Cinderella. Okay, and she loved performing it. All the girls would really enjoy. Do you know why? Because Cinderella loves to wear beautiful gowns. Yeah. So now this story had pumpkin carriage, and they made the pumpkin carriage out of what? The wheelbarrow. Look at the picture and the slide. You can see a wheelbarrow. Okay, that was their pumpkin carriage. Cinderella rolled away in it. She sat inside it, right down the aisle in the center, when the fairy godmother waved her wand. Okay, one of the girl was a fairy godmother and she would wave her wand and then she would be pushed down the aisle. Louisa loved all these plays, okay, all the plays where there was full of life and creativity. She loved it. And then she even made up her own. She even wrote her own plays, creative plays. And then all four of the sisters would act in it. Okay, we all make up stories. Yeah, we love to make up stories. In the same way, these girls love to make up their own stories and act in it. Kids, did you understand the story so far? Okay, now shall we recap? What did the girls do in the morning? The girls woke up, made their beds, and Sat down to study. Yes, they sat down to study. What did they like to do the most? They like to act. They like to act, or they like to do their pretend play. Name the plays that they like the most. Plays, okay, it's plural form. So we have two here. What are they? Jack and the Beanstalk and Cinderella. And how did they enact it? They had the ladder. They covered the ladder with the squash vine. Okay. And then when the giant was up, one sister would cut down the vine. And so what happened? The pillow came tumbling down. What is the pillow? The big giant. And that is how they enacted the play of Jack and the Beanstalk. Okay, kids, did you write the meanings and what are adjectives in your classwork? Now, here comes your second exercise. Okay, it's a continuation of the meanings. You can write it in the same way, write the date and write the meanings of the given words. What is a wheelbarrow? A small cart with a single wheel in front. Okay, repeat it. Okay, wheelbarrow, a small cart with a single wheel in front. Number two, aisle. What's an aisle? A passage between rows of seats. A passage between rows of seats. Now, when you sit in the bus or in the car or in a uh, or in a transport vehicle where you're moving, or in a school bus, you would like to sit near the window. Okay, and after the window there's another seat, yes, next to you, and that's called the aisle. Okay, a passage between two rows of seats. And the third one is the wand. Okay, a wand is a small long stick used to perform magic. If you see all these movies like Harry Potter, you would see Harry Potter having a small wand in his hand. Okay, with that they perform magic. Okay, the next question is identify verbs in the given paragraphs. Now, first let's remember what is a verb. Let's remind ourselves. A verb is an action verb. And I have listed out all the verbs for you from the given paragraph. There might be more. I've listed some of it for you. Went, tied, dressed, came, tried, cut, loved, made, rolled, and waved. Okay, we have come to the last slide, and the last slide always reminds us. Okay, it's a reminder slide that tells us to read. So your job is to go and take your book and read the lesson Louisa's story. Okay, slowly, don't be in a rush to finish off the story. Read it slowly as I did it in the video. The second one is write your classwork. Okay, ensure that you finish your classwork. And when writing, remember to write neatly and legibly. Okay, it's your classwork, so always write neatly. And the third one is to do IXL. I gave you some exercises to do last time. Yeah, you would have received a message. Miss Preeti would have sent a message, okay, to do some exercises, okay. B1, B2, B3, B4 and B5. Did you do it, children? Okay, now this time I want you to do verbs. Okay, exercises on verbs. Go to IXL and find exercises on verbs.